Welcome to a 5-part wildlife photography journey into Amboseli National Park. A land of superlative wildlife and unrivaled photographic potential. All set against one of Africa's most iconic and breathtaking backdrops. I'm Matthew Williams-Ellis, a professional wildlife photographer. Join as I search for the perfect composition of a herd of elephants in front of the roof of Africa, Mount Kilimanjaro. I fulfill a lifelong dream of photographing on Amboseli's vast dry lake bed and explore Elephant Garden Conservancy, capturing images of the giraffe of the antelope world and actual giraffe. And finally, I'll come face to face with Teejay, one of Amboseli's most iconic super tuskers. In this final episode, part 5, I set out in search of Teejay, one of Amboseli's largest super tuskers. It doesn't go entirely to plan, but wildlife photography is about responding to what's in front of you. And in the end, I come away with an image I could have never imagined in advance.
Good morning. Welcome to Amboseli National Park. Kilimanjaro, out first thing in the morning. It looks absolutely beautiful. And this morning I'm going in search of Teejay. Teejay is one of the super tuskers here in Amboseli National Park. The challenge is going to be finding a nice spot with a good open view, with Amboseli in the background, in amongst all these shrubs. So I'm keeping fingers crossed we find Teejay in a nice space, because I have one part of what is potentially going to make an amazing image, and that is Kilimanjaro in the background. Right, time to head off.
I finally received the news I'd been waiting for. Teejay's trackers had managed to locate him.
Got some good news. Teejay's tracker has found him not too far from here in Teejay Conservancy. Kilimanjaro is still out, so I am really just keeping fingers crossed, because you can see a bit of cloud forming. Keeping fingers crossed it stays this way for long enough to get a nice shot of Teejay with Kilimanjaro behind. It's going to be partly potluck. It's the way it happens to be. Is it an open area? Is it a sort of bushy, shrubby, busy area? But the name of the game is just going to be getting to him first, and then keeping fingers crossed and spending some time waiting, watching, just seeing how the scene evolves.
Meet Teejay, one of Amboseli's most impressive bull elephants. Not only are his tusks large, but they are particularly large for being only 37 years of age. By the time he's older, it's very possible he might have the largest tusks in all of Africa. Super tuskers in Amboseli National Park are more than just impressive to look at. Their extraordinary tusks play a vital role in shaping the ecosystem. Digging for water in dry riverbeds, dispersing seeds across the plains, and opening up dense vegetation, creating opportunities for countless other species. The immense tusks on super tuskers are the result of a rare genetic trait passed down through generations, making their protection essential if this remarkable lineage within the elephant population is to be preserved. I was finally face to face with one of Amboseli's icons, something I have imagined 1,000 times before.
So we've made it to Teejay. He was just resting in the shade. One of about, no one knows exactly how many, maybe 30, 50, 70, 90 super tuskers left in Africa. And what that means is that each of his, well, he has a tusk that is over 100 pounds, but in his case I think it's both. So far I've managed one horribly exposed, terribly lit photo of Teejay walking not really towards the camera. So there's definitely room for improvement. Yeah, it's just challenging. It's challenging. There's a lot of luck as to where he's walking. As you can see, this is bushy around here, so there's not many open spots. But this is what wildlife photography is about. It's not easy, especially if you have something specific in your mind. So yeah, you know, like being realistic, I think the odds of getting a really good photo today are pretty slim. In my head, it would need to be even soft light, so you can see all the detail, and then a nice close-up, or it'll be a shot with Kilimanjaro, or possibly a really beautiful tree in a big open area. But even if I get the big open area, you know, the light now is terrible. But I still feel it's good. It's good fun. It's interesting. It's a challenge, which is always good. And importantly, I'm learning. I'm learning about the environment. I'm learning about my subject for next time.
As is often the way, when you give it time, my luck changed and Teejay started making his way through a more open area.
So Daniel, who's the tracker, is going to head across this clear bit over here. So, especially because the light's really difficult, we're going to go ahead to where he's heading. And actually, if he's completely backlit, his whole face should be in the shade and might be quite evenly lit. So that's the hope.
Daniel was absolutely correct. His time spent with Teejay means he can read his behaviour like no one else. He walked into the open, and as he was completely backlit, his face and front was evenly lit, so I decided to overexpose the sky to see the details of my subject. I'm sorry I haven't got better behind the scenes footage from this moment, but the shot happened in the blink of an eye and the moment was gone. This is how quickly moments happen sometimes in wildlife photography, and just like that, he decided to return to the exact same tree he had left earlier. As I sat there patiently, completely absorbed by his presence, I realised the tree had a lot of potential.
So now we sit and wait and see what happens. Teejay's having a bit of a rest and a bum rub underneath this beautiful tree. So because he's completely in the shade, what I can actually do is overexpose all of the sky. And it should create a really nice minimalist shot. Just the shape of all the trunks, well, the tree trunks, branches, and then Teejay underneath.
I'd love to know whether you prefer this in black and white or colour. I am torn. It's all about the shapes, which is why I think black and white works well, but the warm tones also work, giving it that sort of dusty, hot feel. Let me know what you think.
So I've just switched to my 14 to 30 rather than 24 to 70. And the reason is the shape of this tree is what's going to make the composition amazing. And I'll show you the difference now between 24, which is this, and then going wider to 20. You'll see it's so much more of the shape of the tree up above, which I think is going to make it a much stronger, more interesting composition. So he's currently resting under the tree, so it's fairly motionless. Also, importantly, his eyes are quite sort of droopy and shut. So, it's a beautiful scene, but I'm thinking about the things that could make it better. Perhaps if he wakes up a bit, lifts his trunk or curls his trunk. Perhaps if he dusts himself. Perhaps, definitely, in fact, if he's more square on to me rather than side on, that would be much more intimate, much more sort of, have much more impact. So those are the things that I'm now waiting for.
Teejay dutifully obliged, dusting himself a few more times over the next hour. Elephants do this in order to protect themselves from flies and insects, and also from the strong UV rays. They also do it to help them stay cool.
So he's just dusted himself twice, and I'm going to try this slightly tighten it, so it more fill the frame. I just want to capture that energy, that action, movement. His trunk's on the ground. Might be about to collect some dust. His trunk is so heavy, he basically has to rest it on his tusks sometimes, or sometimes on the ground. So I just wanted to explain a little bit why I'm taking a shot from here rather than to the side, or where might be the obvious place, which is right in front. If I want Teejay looking straight, square onto the camera, it might seem like it makes sense to be in front, but the reason I'm here is that there's a gap directly between these sort of shrubs in front of me. So any shot I get is going to have the tusks completely obscured. If I was directly in front, there's two bushes there. I think that that could potentially ruin the shot if the bush goes over the front of the tusk. The other thing I like about being here is that you get some of the shape of Teejay. From completely front on, you're not going to get any of that. So I'm getting shots less often because he's not looking this way very often. But I think when he is, I think they're better.
And almost like he could understand what I was saying, he struck the most perfect pose for me one last time. What an amazing experience.
I'm just going to briefly interrupt this video to say that this video is sponsored by, well, me. I have 2 online courses and mentorships, The Art of Wildlife Photography, which is all about how to get creative with light, capture creative compositions, and the art of telling a story through capturing moments, behaviors, and interactions. And I've also got one to do with the best settings for wildlife photography. So if you're not sure about what the best camera setup is, and you want to get your camera set up exactly like I have it set up, then that would be the perfect one to join. If you want to know more, you can visit www.masteringwildlifephotography.com. Back to the video. So I'm just on my way back now from photographing and spending a few hours with Teejay, and I have to say it was amazing just being that close to such an enormous elephant. It sounds stupid, but you really see and feel how big they are when they're towering up above the car. There's no way that I could rock up and just go and find this elephant, like without trackers that know where he is every day, and without guides who communicate with them and take you there, these images don't happen. And I think that's quite important to sort of acknowledge in an image like the ones I've just taken of Teejay, but also just wildlife photography in general. A lot of shots don't happen without the input of guides or specialists to help you get to the position you need to be, and that's what it ends up being. It's about how do you get where you need to be to achieve the images you want to achieve. So I had visions of, Teejay out in the open with Kilimanjaro behind, or, I had very specific ideas in my head. They basically all involve Kilimanjaro, but I think I perhaps ended up with something that I couldn't have envisioned. It's good to have ideas, I think, in wildlife photography. Good to have something you're aiming for, but ultimately you've no idea where you're going to find things. Sometimes you do have to just respond to whatever is in front of you. Just want to talk you through what is probably my final shot here in Amboseli National Park. Literally just heading out, came in for one last sort of look round this morning, saw some lions, which was great, a few more elephants, and then heading back just to pick up my bags, and got the most amazing sort of open spot with a giraffe, and positioned the vehicle in the direction it was heading, with a tree on the bottom right, Kili up above, which overnight has, there's clearly been some snow up there because it's got a much whiter top this morning. And I think the scale in that image, because the giraffe just perfectly walked into shot. It stopped at a bush and I thought it wasn't going to, and then it just carried on walking. And I thought I was done, and then there was this one final opportunity. And I do find that tends to happen. I think there's normally one last shot in a trip. So yeah, awesome way to end. I feel like I have learned so much about Amboseli in my few days here. It's been amazing. The place is absolutely beautiful. And I feel like I've got much better understanding now of what the animals do and when they might do it and where they might do it. So it means that sort of heading out for a shoot, and when I come back here with guests on photography trips, I'm not going to be completely guessing. The guides are incredibly important. Titus is amazing. He knows exactly when which elephant families will cross at certain points, which is so invaluable. But I like to also know myself so that I can make decisions about what area might be the best given the time of day, the time of morning, the type of shot that I'm looking for. As with most trips, I sort of feel like I've reached the end and I have more questions now and more ideas than when I started. and just more unfinished business. You know, I loved shooting Teejay, but because I was trying to get to know the whole park, I only had one day doing that, or you know, not even a whole day, half a day. So I'd love to revisit that and try and get some of those shots where Teejay might be out in the open with Kilimanjaro behind. I also feel like I've got unfinished business with the lake bed. That first morning on the lake bed was incredible. I think in particular the shot of the giraffes, I'm so happy with that. But again, because I was trying to get to know everywhere, I didn't manage to spend much more time there. So I'd love to revisit there and spend more time photographing ideally bigger herds of elephants. And then lastly, the area in the north where you have these vast open plains, I would love to just go there, you know, day after day for 3 days and see what I can capture. So it's been one of those trips where I guess I was trying to do lots of things, trying to experiment, trying to get to know the area. And I'm pleased with some of my images, but now I just want to come back with some more specific aims. Because I think generally in wildlife photography, the more specific you are about what you are trying to do, the more likely you are to achieve better images. So I hope you've enjoyed this journey, and I hope you've enjoyed some of the images. And if you're interested in joining me on a photography trip here, then please do drop me a message and I'll send you all the brochure and information over. Thanks for watching.